1910, President Theodore Roosevelt delivered an epic speech. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or whether the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat, the women and men in the arena.
Is this on? Is this on?
I think so.
Okay, let's go. Oh, the couch isn't here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us at home for the centenary best and fairest that we will be presenting tonight. My name's Andy Jobart. I'm joined by the lovely Henry Dick and Lucy Morley. Bad luck, mate, I'll take this one. And we'll be your host tonight. We'll be taking you through a number of different segments, including awards, introductions to the coaches and whatnot. So bear with us. I think it's going to be a great night. Strap in. I hope you've got a frothy in hand. Over to you, Henry.
Yeah, Andrew, like different build-up to tonight's proceedings, but still should be a cracking evening. Better than last year's, as there was none, but probably not as good as 2019. Lucy, what are you most excited about this evening?
I'm most excited about the award winners and love the annual raffle. So yeah, can't wait to see the winner. What about you?
Tickets still available?
I believe not.
Sold out. Tickets are sold out.
All sold, all gone.
What are your highlights? What are some highlights from the year?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it was a bit of an up and down season. It was a bit of a roller coaster, as we know. You know, you get to a Thursday of training, and all of a sudden the VAFA would pull the pin, and we wouldn't be playing on Saturday. So we'd be forced to retire at the Glendon and have a few frothies. You know, luckily the place has got a pool table now. But no, some highlights were definitely bringing the club together with a one club mentality. I know the coaches worked really hard in the pre-season to develop some values and some leadership structures, and I think the whole club worked really, really well to achieve those. And I think it was a bit of an up and down season, but all in all, it was probably pretty good.
Yep. No, I definitely the addition of the Sharks, the women's seconds team, is definitely a highlight for me. Really improved the women's program. So yeah, love that. And obviously the lock-in. Yeah, can't forget that.
Cannot forget.
Very, very important.
Round one lock-in. Book it in next year. Round one lock-in in the club. Let's go.
For me, thanks for asking, guys. But for me, that the first night back at training after probably a month off the track, absolutely electric night. I think it was a player-run training session, which was interesting to be the most electric of the year. And also the time that we were allowed to play with no crowds. It was quite interesting. We had 15 people apply to be the goal umpire. And also that day we had about 35 parents walking around McQueen Park. Yeah. And there was one Tim Shearer on his daughter's bike doing laps of McQueen Park.
With the pink tassels out the side. I think I remember the one.
Matching pink top as well.
Ringing the bell.
On that note, I'd just like to bring up Tim Shearer, the president of the footy club, up to the stage.
Welcome to the Old Scots Footy Club Centenary Best and Fairest Awards for 2021, and I hope all of you are as well as you can be during these challenging times. It'd be fair to say that the centenary year didn't play out exactly as we planned, with only just over 50% of available games being played. But what I will say is that we did get 81 games in this season, which is 81 more than we did in 2020. So we have to look at that as certainly a positive. With last year's experience behind us, we again focused on three key areas when overseeing the club, particularly in the second half of the year. Number one was the health, safety and well-being of all of our people. And I'm very proud to say that, again, we did our very best to look after the needs of every member of the club as best we can. Two was to communicating effectively with our members, and a big thank you to Steve Blenheim who weekly compiled the drum sheet. And I think it was a terrific communication vehicle that kept people up to date with developments. And we introduced the weekly match reports this year on Mondays, with the drum sheet coming out on Friday, which was a great initiative. And finally, we were very keen to again ensure that the club was financially viable, and I'm delighted to report that thanks to the generosity of many people and the support of players, support of our community through memberships, our corporate partners, that we again have managed to trade positively in season 2021, which means we can head into 22 with great confidence. So off the field, we had four major events we got away. The golf day at Kew Golf Club, thanks to Donald, was a terrific success, with many groups having a cracking day. The season launch breakfast was a real highlight. A big thank you to Jeff Kennett for taking his time to be with us where the book was launched. And I'll talk more about the book shortly, but it was an outstanding event at River's Edge through one of our corporate partners, the Australian Venue Company, and we thank them for their continued support. No one's probably done it harder than they have over the past couple of years. We then had the opening with the City of Boroondara of the pavilion, the terrific new facilities both in the main pavilion and at the away, as we call it now, pavilion up towards Trumper Street. Two terrific improvements that'll hold the club in great stead for years to come. And we certainly thank all involved with the council for their investment in community sport, particularly our Victor Franco, who's our local member, who replaced Coral Ross, who did so much for our footy club over many years in her role as Gardner Ward councillor. We then hosted collegians for the traditional Anzac Day match. Sadly, the result didn't go our way, but a terrific pre-game ceremony and luncheon. We were very fortunate and honoured to have the Federal Treasurer and Kooyong member Josh Frydenberg, great friend of the club's, great friend of Scotch's, and he had a great day. And the day went well until collegians sort of got on top of us in the second half. I'll talk more about the book launch later, but it would be fair to say it was that production is an outstanding triumph. It records the club's centenary visually with great statistical analysis and supports and a great narrative put together by Bruce Brown. The statistics were put together by Johnny Bell, and Jeff McCracken oversaw the whole project and did it with great passion, great dedication and an enormous commitment, and we're just so indebted to those three. I'd like to thank all those who took out memberships of the club this year, particularly the non-playing members. Rob Miller, Melbourne's number one, did an outstanding job overseeing our membership and corporate partnership portfolios, and to the foundation, to those people who over 50 now who have invested in a commitment of a minimum of $10,000, maybe payable over 5 years, but to those 50 people, there is no doubt that the club could not have got through the last couple of years and be in the position it is without their support. I'd also like to thank all levels of government again, Australian federal government, and through Josh, it was great to be able to thank him at that luncheon for his support, and the government support. The state government and our local government have all given terrific support to the club during these really testing times. And of course, the final piece is the major raffle, which we'll all know who the lucky person is. So 200 tickets, I'm pretty sure have sold, which is an outstanding achievement. I thank Kate Tass for the great work she's done in putting together the raffle. And good luck to everyone. And if it's not me, I hope it's you. So on the field, the real season highlight for me was the Stars. Again, undefeated, a massive percentage, and they were declared minor premiers. They were unbackable to win the flag again. And it was great that we could add the second team being the Sharks, and they had a terrific year. Again, making finals in their first year was outstanding. They were undefeated for their first 3, 4, 5 games, and just represented the club really well. It was great to provide those additional opportunities for the girls to play and enjoy each other's company, but play in a terrific environment. So the great thing about having that second team, which we'll have next year, is we hope that our women's teams will be competing in Premier B section of the VAFA next year, which will be much better for them. They'll be tested, and I'm a great believer, the higher you play up, the better you are. So it'll be terrific for them. Men's first 18 showed early promise. We fell away badly in games, was a bit of a trend, and we certainly have got a lot of work to do. Fitness, strength, conditioning, but we are young, and we're certainly, there's a strong plan in place, and Donald and Natty are doing an outstanding job with the other assistant coaches. We've got a lot of work to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing the boys really commit to ensure that we can compete with those top end sides. We don't want to be fighting to avoid relegation. We want to be playing finals and giving ourselves that chance. So exciting times ahead. The men's second 18, terrifically competitive all year, missing out on a top 4 position, but certainly we're in most games we played. Big thank you to Henry Dick for the way he led that side. And it's great. One great thing about this, about the season being cancelled, is Busby has to play on to get the magical 200 games next season. We love having him involved again. The men's third 18 with Stav and Co had a terrific year. You know, I got to see them play a couple of times, and they really well organised and played super competitive footy, made finals, that augurs well for the future success of the club, as does the under 23s. And again, I was really proud of the way we presented there. It's a great new team, keeping players in the system for longer than they might otherwise would have been. So really, that's before I go to the under 19s, the senior section of the footy club had a really promising year, I'd say, with some areas for improvement that we were keen to address and keep working hard. Harder you work, the luckier you get. In the under 19s, we were so fortunate that Bryce and Craig came on board to lead our program. The ones had a terrific season, played some really good footy, probably let ourselves down with one loss against Old Melburnians when we let them kick, successive goals in the last five or so minutes of the game, which probably cost us a spot in the finals at the end of the season, which there's a message in there. And the twos, was that hats off to the boys who played in the under 19 twos. They were up against many clubs' first teams and found the going tough, but geez, we competed. We were in games for long durations, and when we got that one win, it was just so exciting, and I was wrapped, as everyone at the club was, for those boys. So from me, it's a big thank you to everyone for their involvement, the coaches and players in particular. That's what it's all about. But all those volunteers who help out on game day, the Cowboys, Robbos, of our club, they are the lifeblood. I'd also like to thank my committee. It's an outstanding committee, a terrific group of people. Sadly, we haven't probably had the chance to get to know everyone as well as we could over the last couple of years, but let me assure you, the committee of this football club is first class, and I certainly would like to thank everyone for their involvement. I'd also like to thank our GM, Peter Simpson, who does a colossal job for the club, and he's really well supported by Christine Shearer and by our Director of Football, Donald McDonald, in some of the other paid positions at this football club. So we are really well geared, both on and off the field, I think, and can't wait to get into next year. A couple of farewells. A big thank you to Chris Goldstraw, who coached the Stars for the last couple of years. A terrific fellow, and we'll miss you, but it's great that you're going to be involved wherever you can. And to Brad Jenkinson, who came on board with Duke, coaching the Stars to that premiership and the first year runners-up, and has now, over recent seasons, taken care of the fitness, strength and conditioning of the guys, particularly last year in that really hard year, but this year, what a start. We're so fortunate to have had your involvement at our club, and we wish you both all the best for your future. I'd like to also note that the committee has reappointed every coach for season 22, and that's great for stability. It says a lot about the calibre of people that we have involved. So in wrapping up, it's congratulations to all the award winners. Well done on what you've achieved this year. A big thanks to Ian Benicia and Steve Blenheim for putting this presentation together. And we all look forward to a full season in 2022. Thanks very much. Have a great night. At this year's centenary dinner, the club is delighted to be announcing a new award which will recognise the most outstanding contribution to the club in an on-field sense. In the past, the off-field award for outstanding contribution used to be known as the Bill Pearson Award. The committee this year determined to change that award to be the Leading Goal Kicker Award, and this year it's my honour to present it. Now, just quickly, a little bit about Bill Pearson. It's an amazing story. He was recruited from Scotch in 1931 and played 8 seasons for the Old Scotch Collegians Footy Club from 1931 to 1937, and then again after the war in 1946 for just 3 games. He was an A-section premiership player in 1931, 32, 33 and 34, pretty much on the back of his work, as you're about to find out, and he won the club's best and fairest in 1934, 35 and 37. And he was the club's leading goal kicker from 1931 to 1937, kicking 1,023 goals in just 7 seasons. That's an average of 8.25 goals per game. So I can think of no more fitting person to name the leading goal kicker award after than Bill Pearson. And the winner of this year's Bill Pearson Award kicked 32 goals. She played for the Stars, and her name is Alex Theodosi. Congratulations, Alex. Well, I've got big shoes to fill here as I award the Brian Gibbs Award for Distinguished Off-Field Service. This award recognises Brian's outstanding contribution over years, and as we all know, Gibbles is still a much-loved supporter there every weekend, cheering the boys on from the sideline. And I'm sorry that Brian isn't able to present the award remotely to you this year. But in his absence, it is with great pleasure that I announce the 3 winners are 3 men who have made an outstanding contribution to the club, not just this year, but it was probably in the leading 3 or 4 years leading up to this year, as they prepared and then delivered the club's amazing centenary history, fighting for the Cardinal Gold and Blue. Jeff McCracken led the team of Bruce Brown and John Bell, and together they put together what Jeff Kennett described at the launch of the book, one of the most amazing club history compilations that he'd ever seen. So we all thank the 3 men. We had the opportunity to thank them at the breakfast, but it is so fitting that this special award is awarded to each of these 3 fantastic Old Scotch Football Club men. Well done.
Congrats, Theo. One of the most modest, down-to-earth people I know. Always early to training, wear your kit. You're amazing. So, well deserved.
And fantastic book from the boys. Well done, Belly, Crackers and Brucey Brown. Terrific read for those that haven't. And there's a big highlight on page 43. Lovely picture of a few strapping lads. And now we move to the under-23s. Had a great year this year. A couple of highlights was Will Nichols kicking a winning goal on the siren.
Indeed.
We also had Freddie Osborne throwing up a couple of times in round 1 after a short pre-season. But the favourite moment of the year was the Loveridge twins, and a classic case of mistaken identity. When Charlie Loveridge, was umpiring one day, and that night Tom Loveridge was out and he was copping stick from the opposition, thinking it was him. The old mistaken identity. But without further ado, we'll bring up the man always wearing beanies and sunnies, Brendan White.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's going all right in lockdown at the moment. Big congratulations to all the award winners across the grades tonight. Definitely well deserved amongst the challenges of the stop-start season. Thanks to the club for giving me the opportunity to coach down to 23s this year. Thanks to all who have been really welcoming throughout the season. I really appreciate it and have enjoyed the season. Thanks especially to Donald, Simo and Tupi, who I've worked closely with at times. And I hope all of the players can thank these guys as well next time you see them, as they put in an amount of work behind the scenes to allow us to get on the park each week. Thanks to Tony Hocking, Sora Bale for always helping on Saturdays in the team manager roles, Ornshu Hedge, and Rick Weston and Benny Goodman for assisting in game day preparation. Brad Jenkinson for getting the boys right for game day and organising the Keezer staff, and the Keezer guys for helping out Saturdays, and anyone else who I may have missed. To the under-23 boys, thanks for being such a good bunch of fellas and being easy to coach. Thanks for also assisting on game day when rotated out or injured. Thanks to the leaders on game day and Charlie Hockey and Angus Manson in rallying the boys, and Tom Clark in assisting with the board and coaching game days despite being injured. Obviously a bit difficult to summarise the season due to the circumstances around it. definitely felt a bit anticlimactic with how the season ended. I think if you offered us 10 to 11 games this time last year, we probably would have taken it. So hopefully the group can take what they've learned and apply this to next year in the coming seasons. In many aspects, it was a successful season for us, though, as we were in the top 4 for its entirety. Development at this level is the most important thing, though. So I hope a number of the boys, they got opportunities in the twos this year, or display their talent, get down and do a full pre-season, and cement their spot in the twos next year, or even push into the ones. On the awards, there's definitely a number of guys who are very unfortunate not to have won something. So hopefully you get back and do the hard work. It'll be really open field next year. On the coaches awards, this bloke, arguably playing in the most important position, made my life a lot easier each week. He probably would have won or placed in the best and fairest if we had a full season. He's a tremendous guy. Always friendly and happy to have a chat. Always got the training, did the hard work, I did what I asked of him. He was always punctual. There's also plenty of upside in his development, and obviously in the position he's playing, he'll definitely get his chances in due time. So congratulations, Alex Lake. Third in the best and fairest, another terrific bloke, also very quality footballer with great footy smarts and decision making. Absolutely dominated in the intercept marking position on the back flank. Kept us in the game on a few occasions against the top sides. Absolutely no doubt this guy, if he does a pre-season, he'll be challenging for the twos and ones at stages throughout next year. So that's Matt Chair. Congratulations, Matt. Runner-up, I believe this is the second runner-up in as many seasons for this bloke. It's hard not to see why. Super great guy. Really stood out to me during the introductory calls earlier this year, just wanting to have a yarn. Super friendly. On field, he's a competitive beast, gives his absolute all. He's very versatile, and then he started down back, moved into the ruck when Lakey went down and did a really admirable job in there, playing 100% game time, rucking 100% of the game, and then end the season as a midfielder. So with his presence and aggression, the way he throws his size around, intimidates the opposition, you love that as a coach, and you need that in your team. And also another bloke that has plenty of upside with his development, and that is Angus Manson. Congratulations, mate. Best and fairest. This bloke's our best player. There's no doubt about that. A senior bloke, senior footballer, more or less playing unders footy. So I hope he realises his talent in coming years. Once you're done celebrating the D's premiership, mate, I hope you get down and get yourself super fit and do a pre-season for the club, because I know the seniors would love to have you, and you'd fit in really well with that midfield group. So, Fred, congratulations, mate. Yeah, really, really well deserved. Great season, Fred Osborne.
Cheers, Whitey. Just wanted to give a shout out to all the boys who played throughout the year. Very enjoyable season. It's a shame it got cut short, but just wanted to give thanks to all the people that helped out and made the season possible. And obviously, just wanted to give a big thanks to Whitey. He's been an amazing coach and great bloke, and looking forward to seeing how you go with your new role in the ones. Very deserving, and I wish you all the best. So, cheers, guys. Cheers.
Thanks to everyone. Have a great night. Chin up in lockdown for those that are. Hopefully, in some respects, there's some light at the end of the tunnel now. Hopefully, we can catch up sometime in the new year when I'm back in Melbourne and have a beer. So have a great night, everyone.
Congrats, Freddie. We know you love a selfie, so why don't you go and post one on Insta for us?
Why don't all the winners post them on Insta, you know? Might as well.
Absolutely, and even if you want your MCs in the photo, feel free to use my handle, HD33.
On you, Henry. And now moving on to the under-19 reserves. Actually heard a couple of funny stories from the under-19 reserves this year. A player by the name of Will Taylor. He got in a fight with Coach Craig Lovett's son whilst in one of the development games. Pretty interesting from him. But also a big shout out to Seb Fernandez. He got injured at the start of pre-season, had a good pre-season, and was restricted to the sidelines coaching. Came back, thought he'd be the saviour, but mate, probably best to stick on the sidelines next year as coach. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Coach Matt Blake up to give us the introductions for the under-19 reserves.
Hi all, hope we're having a good night. It's pretty great to have an opportunity to celebrate for these lockdowns, so hope everyone's having a few drinks, enjoying it. Before I get into the 19s Development Squad Awards, I'd like to take the opportunity to just thank some guys around the club. Thank you firstly to Donald, Tupi, Natty, Jenko. You guys welcomed me from the start of pre-season, which is pretty tough walking into a club where I didn't know anyone, but you allowed me to be a part of it and really lifted me along the way, and I really appreciate that you guys let me be a part and involved. Also, Benny Goodman, Bryce and Craig really favored my coaching and lifted my confidence with my footy knowledge and my ability, so I hugely appreciate the roles you guys have played outside of footy and inside of coaching as well. Like, amazing support. Peter Wells, Peter Simpson and Sakes, thank you for your support, management, Peter Simpson, and basically everything that goes on in the club. And Wells and Sakes, you, the first few weeks that we didn't have you around with the development squad, it was bloody hard. Like, without a manager, it was a lot. So it was great having you. And also just the 19s players, thank you guys for welcoming me again. I hope you guys had a great year. I definitely did myself, so I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do. Your support, I feel like, I was new to club, I was new to coaching, and new to footy, so it was great having your support through trainings, game day, lifting, like showing your leadership and teaching me, and I hope you guys learned some few things as well. Our season as a whole, summing that up, wasn't the best. It's a pretty grim season, just the one win out of 10 or so games, but I think there's a positive in that as well. The fact that we were able to get 10 or so games off and 10 fun, enjoyable games where very few of them we were smashed, like, we still got to compete. That's what we're here for footy, to compete, to have a bit of fun, to kick a ball around. And spend some time with your mates. Like, I really enjoyed just the Monday and Thursday seeing you guys at training, and then the Saturday, like, when it came down to game day, it was exciting, and I'm really glad that we got to have that this year compared to last year. Like, that was pretty great. Then we were in a tough division. We were also in a very tough division. There was a lot of teams where that was their first side. So we as the seconds were struggling to match this side's best players because we didn't have that. But we were definitely supporting our premier side. The amount of guys that jump between the two sides shows that we were supporting our premier side, and there wasn't that huge a gap between us. So I'm pretty happy with the year, and I hope you guys were too. Jumping into the awards, there's heaps of guys that are unlucky in these. There were some great players and then some great leaders, especially for that coach's award. This was a bloody tough decision to make. Like, there were so many guys that made it a lot easier for me and for our side. While we're speaking on that, I also like to thank Seba. From the start of the season, you were my crutch. I leant on you so much, and you taught me a lot in regard to coaching, and yeah, you're bloody missed, but I'm really glad that you got to play some footy, mate, and getting back into it, and I really hope you can get a full season in next year, but thank you for your support. It was really great. For the Coaches Award, we focused on someone who lifted the side through training, coaching, playing different roles, really just did whatever was needed and lifted their teammates along the way. He's definitely the most consistent trainer, trained the most, trained at the highest standard. He's welcoming, he's a leader. I didn't know he wasn't a Scotch or Camberwell boy, but he's just great, welcoming, a leader like that. Also a good coach. We noticed in trainings he was basically could run sessions on his own, and he ran his own side, which is very successful, and that's George Katsonis. And this is well deserved, mate. I hope you have a good night. It's well deserved. Third in the BNF, we actually had a tie, and that's Bilby and Rye Spark. So congratulations to you guys. Jack Bilby, from the start, I remember you were a leader, you're a go-getter, you push yourself to get what you want. I really admire that, and it's been great to have around. From the start of pre-season, I remember you munting. That's how hard you're pushing yourself and sharing that with the group, which is great. And yeah, it was bloody grim to see that you had an injury which took you away from us by the end of it. Rice Spark, I was surprised you had so many games from us. I remember when you came down in pre-season, I thought, yep, that's a Premier side player. So it was lucky, especially when you had basketball the night before, so we actually got to have you for our side. But you had a great year, so congratulations, mate. Second in the BNF, we had Griff Schultz. Bloody glad when the ball was in your hands, and it was very comfortable because we knew where you're putting it, knew it was going to be hitting a target, kicking it to a mate. Well done, mate. Hope you're having a good night. Congratulations. Then our winner, I think this isn't much of a surprise, but that's Justin Bouldergarden. Definitely the best player for the year. It was a key back who basically other sides would then have to tag out of it, so you did really well. Glad you got a game in the Premier side, and hope everyone's having a good night. Thank you.
The old mute button loose. Gets the best of you, doesn't it, Jel?
Yep.
What about the camera on, Luce? Are you a camera off or camera on type operator?
Guess it depends on the occasion.
Settle down.
I know one of my dear friends, Justin Nikolowski, he's definitely a camera on type operator, but then when he needs a bit of a break, he's camera off for sure.
Camera on tonight, everybody.
Well, I was just trying to congratulate Justin.
Now, the under-19 ones had another great year. Another year of unearthing some superstar young talent. Probably none bigger than Big Al, of course. Absolute cult hero down at the club. And apparently Big Al was going around to his opposition telling them that he was surprised they didn't have two players on him. I think Big Al's head needs to come down to size a little bit. But a special moment for the under-19s was unveiling their premiership flag out here at McQueen Park. And it was interesting to note that Fraser Moresby was there nice and early at the ceremony. He went home and went back to sleep, and only to return to playing the seniors that day. Good on you, Fev. And there's a couple of contradictory sort of speeches made this year in the under-19 ones. You had Jack McCorkle telling the boys how proud he was of them when they were 40 points down at half-time. And then in another game, you had Coach Bryce McGain giving them a spray when they're 80 points up at half-time. It's a tough times out there, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce Bryce McGain to talk about the under-19 ones.
Good evening, everyone. Bryce McGain, coach of the under-20s program here, and have a bit to get through tonight, and it's a real celebration and an opportunity to acknowledge all the great support there is around the club. The celebration, of course, award winners get some acknowledgements, but the celebration really is for everyone, probably in the fact that we're able to get a football season away, 10 games in all with the under-20s program this year, which was exciting in itself. It was great to be able to get out there and finally coach, compared to the season before where we had stop and start and never actually got any games in. So credit to the VAFA, credit to the club as well, and following all the protocols that we needed to. And of course, a huge thanks to the players and the remainder of the coaching staff as well. We were able to get the job done. The first acknowledgement is to our development team award winners. They've already been announced by Matt Blake a little bit earlier. So congratulations to George Costonis, Jack Bilby, Rye Spark, Griffin Schultz and Justin Baumgarten. Well done to you all. A great acknowledgement for a very, very good season. Well done to Matt Blake, who took on the coaching role at the last minute in his first season of coaching and did a terrific job. Great to have you part of the coaching panel. Your input was incredibly valuable in how we selected teams. Your information was terrific. You gave players lots of opportunity to perform. A number of those players, of course, came up and played Premier football, and they were really well prepared. So we thank you very much for that. His right-hand man for a little part at the start there was Seb Fernando, who did a great job. So thank you, Seb, for stepping in when you were injured. I know that playing football was definitely on your agenda, but you know you're a really mature young guy, so much so that none of the under-20s actually realised you were part of the team. But you did a great job in supporting Matt and becoming part of the coaching group, as well as the leadership group, which we'll touch on a little bit later on. I do also need to thank, of course, my right-hand man in Craig Lovett. He did a fantastic job throughout the whole season. We talk daily about how we can improve the football program, how we can play better, and more importantly, sharing the same values about how do we get the best and how do we get players experiencing their absolute best in playing football at Old Scotch in the 20s program. So to Craig, I can't thank you enough. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. It is a shared responsibility, and I can't thank you for all the hours of work you put in outside of the contact hours, of course, with us getting together on training and match days. So credit to Craig, thanks so much. Well, important acknowledgement and congratulations is to all the players. 90 on our list in the under-20s, with 79 playing in the under-20s program, that being in the development team and also the Premier team. It's a great acknowledgement for all the players to commit to connecting together and playing in a growth environment where it was okay when we wanted the players to play bold. It was fine to make mistakes and fall forward. We wanted to learn from those mistakes and get better. And pleasingly, it was great to see that every player embraced that type of environment. We wanted to empower the players so that they had control of the program, and all the coaching staff listened intently when feedback was given, and to be able to put things in place as well. We can't thank them enough. There were lots of yes, absolutely moments throughout the season, and none better in the Premier team than I think our round 1 victory against Old Brighton, who throughout the remainder of the season proved to be one of the top end teams. That round 1 victory, where it just consolidated how we went about our football, was just fantastic. Another one of those, of course, was our double header weekends, and they were much sought after and much looked forward to by our players. But the day when we won both games, the development team had their victory for the season, and then the Premier team backed it up with a victory later on against St Kevin's. This is back on the 22nd of May, so it seems like a lifetime ago, but it was before our first lockdown, and what a great experience that was. And then coming back to the rooms and celebrating with the families and friends in there was just a great experience. Acknowledgement to the parents. We can't thank you enough for coming along. Parents, grandparents, partners, everyone's tribe is very welcome at Old Scotch, and it actually, from a high performance and team performance perspective, we know that it actually helps our players perform at the best when the people that they want to make proud are there supporting. Don't worry if the boys say, oh, you're a bad luck chum. That's superstition, and that doesn't really count. It is so important that you are there, and we thank you for being there and sharing those moments. They are definitely highlights. Pleasingly, every player had lots of yes moments throughout the season and at training, and that was the pleasing part from a coaching point. The growth in our players. Every single player was improving their game, learning about new aspects. That's the type of environment it is. We're also looking to create a team-first, role-based football system so that the team and the game plan is all about playing a role. Everyone contributes. And we saw that many, many times where all 24 players in each of the teams were contributing, were part of the success of the team. That's what it takes. It takes everybody, not just a few good ones. It takes everyone knowing their role and playing their role. And we certainly experienced some great things there. We also had some not yet moments where we had to learn some valuable lessons in our football season. And sometimes that's hard to swallow, but in doing that with a connected group, you share the experience, you absorb it, and you grow from that. And that sets us up. That's the exciting part that sets up this program for not only next season's success, but ongoing and sustained success. As each generation come through and the first year players become older players and second year players can share their experience, can pass on the learnings of the game plan, that's where the strength comes. And I cannot wait to continue this program with Craig Lovett and into next season as well. Matt Blake will continue. He'll take on a football analyst role, which we're really looking forward to doing, which is going to help the development of our players, of course, with better use of video vision, statistical analysis, and just good feedback as well. So we look forward to continuing to work with Matt as well. I want to thank our team managers, Pete Wells and Saker, who came on a few rounds into the season. It was invaluable, the work you did, Pete. You took it on, taking on the management role of two teams with a boy in one team and managing another ground. You did it so well, and we can't thank you enough for everything you did in that respect. We wouldn't be able to get the games going without you. Your organisation and ability to solve problems at the last minute was much appreciated by us coaches. We prefer to just get along with the job of coaching, and we're able to do that because we were in great hands with Saker and Pete Wells. Thank you guys very, very much. In a big club, there are many people to acknowledge because they've all contributed to the under-20s program this year. None more so than the president, Tim Shearer, and your whole committee. We can't thank you enough for the support, the guidance, and the strategy that you've put in place, which is grow our own, produce a high-performance program to enable our players to be their absolute best. I can't tell you how much I support that. I think it's fantastic. The under-20 players all appreciate it because they're feeling it. They're feeling the support that they're getting both on and off the field from the committee and also including Jeff Hulsell and also Tony Hocking and the remaining part of your committee, Tim, which is just so well received. The program that's put in place is absolutely outstanding. To that, I also need to acknowledge probably the best football administrator in the VAFA, probably even a bit broader than that as well. How fortunate we are to have someone like Peter Simpson to oversee all the operations of the club. He does a wonderful job from all the little bits and the last minute details at the beginning of the season to running the overall strategy to gathering the best people as well, collecting good people and getting them to Old Scotch Football Club, which has been fantastic from our very first meeting to this day. I can't thank you enough for your ongoing support, acknowledgement, solutions. You are a very, very wise administrator and we're very, very fortunate. The football operations is looked after also by Mark Morrison and his wife, who's around so much in Vicky. They contribute so much. They're first in, last to leave. They do all the jobs that are often left to one side, from cleaning up to setting things up. They are absolutely outstanding. They do a power of work. The weekends are just set aside for Old Scotch Football Club, and we can't thank you enough for that. To, well, one of the best of the property stewards going around, Rick Weston, Cowboy, you're an absolute ripper. Thanks so much. You do a job that makes AFL, you do it like an AFL organisation. That's how you put it together for us. Everything's ready, everything's set up, and it's absolutely fantastic. Also coming on this year after a few rounds was Benny Goodman. Benny, we can't thank you enough for the work you did. The first thing you did at the club was just offer help to anybody and to everybody, to the coaching staff, to the players, which was so well received. One of the first things you did off your own back was get a list of all the injured players. And at that stage of the year, at the very beginning, we had over 60 injured players in the men's program. You rang them all to see how they were going and how fortunate we are to have someone who's looking after the players' well-being like that and also providing administrative support for our club. It's a really big club. There are 8 senior teams. It's enormous and it takes a lot of good people to run it, and we can't thank those support guys in Simo, Morrow, Cowboy and Benny in the roles that you've played, along with those team managers that you oversee as well. Absolutely outstanding. Thank you all very, very much. To the football department guys, the Director of Football, Donald McDonald, I thank you very much for, getting me to come to the club. You outlined the vision of where the club were going. They wanted to grow from underneath. That really excited me. And along with Mark Natt, who's a young coach, the support you're providing for him that we all provide. We're all riding behind Natty and putting our strategy together, and with the support that Tupi provides as well. It's great to work with a coaching group like that share the same vision, that support each other, and I can't thank you enough for setting that direction and all the coaches. But more importantly for Craig and I, it's the trust that you instill in us to run our program, to produce our players, to let them know about how to play in a game plan, role-based football, knowing that that's the method that's going to help them play in a senior premiership for Old Scotch. We're all on the same page. Thank you guys. Thanks Natty. Thanks Tupi, and to D-Mac as well. We can't thank you enough. Natty, no one enjoys a closer huddle than you. So we thank you and we wish you every success as you lead the club as that senior coach. We're all riding behind you. Don't worry about that. And my responsibility in that is to keep producing some really good talent coming through the 20s program. And I'll look forward to being able to do that throughout the remainder of the seasons. We also had some terrific support. Brad Jenkinson setting up the strength and conditioning and the overall high performance management for the club. He did an absolutely outstanding job, Jenko. The way you brought in your expertise, your experience, but also your ability to educate others as well. Not only were you educating coaching staff about the methods of what was going on, but you're educating the players in understanding how they get the best out of themselves. And that's been absolutely superb. Along with that, you've had some great assistance with Pat Arceri, who's looked after the rehab, getting the guys back. The care that Pat's shown is terrific. But Jenko, I think furthermore than just the program you're putting together, running systems, running fitness programs, strength and conditioning, those things, but you even had time to bring on Deakin students, mentor them, show them the direction, and we all benefited from that, from all our teams. Every single one of our players in our end-of-season review said they could see that was absolutely outstanding. It was so professional. The system you put together, you're going to be sadly missed, Jenko. We appreciate everything you've done and wish you very, very well with your focus on your family and also in your own development and your own business. All the very best, Jenko. We can't thank you enough. Off the field, we have the best system that's been put together. Well done to Simo, well done to Jenko, well done to Donald in putting this in place at our level of football, which is absolutely superb. I speak so highly of the Kaiser team, led by Paul Percy and the entire physio, trainers. Everything you've been able to put together is incredibly professional. To see the care, the professionalism, the support that all our players get, both at the game, before the game, at training, all week, rehabbing, everything is taken care of. We can't thank you enough. It's absolutely outstanding. It is second to none in the VAFA and probably any other football team going around that isn't at AFL level, and probably it does exceed what some AFL teams have. The support we have is fantastic for all our teams. Thank you all very, very much. To Dr. Tim Wood, to Dr. David Hayes, to Dr. Chris Heskenkamp, we thank you all so much. To be able to have access to the world-class doctors, sports doctors, immediately, straight away our players get assessed, they get diagnosed, and they're straight on the road to recovery. Unfortunately, some had to head towards surgery, and that's where you come in as well. You get them in touch with the very best surgeons in the game to get our players back as quick as possible. We can't thank you enough. The whole off-field system, Kaiser, the doctors, Jenko with the strength and conditioning, this is absolutely high performance, and thank you all very much, and our players appreciate it enormously. A huge congratulations and acknowledgement to our women's program. I know I'm here to talk about the 20s, but I can't go through the night. One of the greatest highlights we had was another double-header day where the 20s played. We played the early game with the development team. The Premier team played the second game, and the main game was the first final of the women's, the Premier women's team, and they absolutely demolished their opposition. But boy, did we enjoy supporting the teams. Unfortunately, with so many teams, we can't all be at the same ground each week. But the women's program, headed up with Chris Goldstraw, the head coach, Josh Richards, Liam Lovett, and the coordinator who makes it all happen, Ian Hill. What a tremendous program. Credit to you all also for getting two teams up and going. The program is bringing people in, girls, women. It is a fantastic completion to the club. Our club as whole. We have 2 women's teams, 6 men's teams. It is absolutely outstanding. May it go from strength to strength. Goldie, can't thank you enough for everything that you have done for Old Scotch. What a tremendous person you have been. We wish you all the best. And to incoming new coach in Dean Anderson, you've got a great program set up, the blueprint's there, and I hope all the girls really thrive in what lies ahead with a tremendous women's program. As we zero in now towards the awards, the people I want to acknowledge who've done a power of work in amongst the playing group, which has been absolutely fantastic, is our under-20 leaders. Our leadership group was voted on by every player in the squad at the beginning of the year. And the pleasing part of that was that so many players received votes. We couldn't all fit in the leadership group, but it was encouraged that every player becomes a leader. So our leadership group formulated, and that had our co-captains. We had 2 captains in Rob Simons and Jack McCorkle, who always lead from the front. They were absolutely outstanding leaders. They were tremendous players, but highly respected by not only our players, but the opposition. The opposition coaches often commented on our captains and the way they played the game, which was hard and fair, and they set a great example for the team. So well done to both Rob and Jack, our co-captains. Our co-vice captains in Richie Johnson and Hudson Levine. You guys were fantastic as well. You stepped up at times where we didn't have our captains available, and you stepped into the breach. You were tremendous leaders. And to the rest of our leadership group, Max Bloom, Nick Joel, Cooper Lean, Tyler Sellers, Angus Jones, and Seb Fernandez, we thank you all very, very much. You guys stuck together. You showed great leadership. You went above and beyond. You developed your leadership skills, and I hope you've really enjoyed the opportunity in being leaders at the club. You've done a wonderful job. What it did is empower our group to have the connection first. And that's what the strength of the program is undoubtedly. Yeah, it's great to have good game plans. It's great to have all those things in place. It's good to have good players. But I can tell you right now, the successful teams, the successful organisations have that genuine connection and care for each other. They go above and beyond. And this group of leaders certainly showed that. And we're so pleased that that then helped everybody in our playing group share that leadership path and give their absolute best at all times. Well done to all of them. And now to the award winners. The Gus Taylor Most Promising Player of the Year goes to our co-captain, Rob Simons. Unfortunately, Rob only played 4 games with us this season, but that does not limit the most exciting, powerful midfielder that we have in our group, and probably the most powerful and exciting midfielder there is in the league, and arguably the best underage league there is in the state and the country. Rob polled 8 league medal votes in those 4 games. One of the games he went off early with concussion. So in 3 games, he had 8 league medal votes. It was a real shame that Rob wasn't able to play more football, but I can assure you that did not deter from his role and contribution to the team. He never missed a training session, even when it was rehab weeks on end, in the coldest months, in the coldest nights, in the wettest nights. He kept turning up and doing his job. He supported all the players. And on match day, he did everything he could to help on field, to help secure the result when he was on the field, but also when he was not, collecting midfield statistics, providing feedback to the players and to the coaching staff. He did it all. What a great leader. Well done. He certainly is a well-deserved winner of the Most Promising Player. Rob goes into the senior squad next year, and in talking to him in the review, he is super eager to rip into pre-season and perform and get through a whole season of football. It's exciting for Old Scotch. This is one very good player to look out for. And the Coaches Award for 2021 goes to Angus Jones. Angus is a dynamic and skillful footballer. He's quick, he's agile, he breaks ankles with the best step in the team on the field. It's off the field that Angus immediately showed a lot of good leadership qualities, so much so that the peers voted him into the leadership group. Angus continued to play consistently good football and support his teammates. It's the care and the connection that makes Angus not only a good footballer, but a terrific teammate as well. His diligence in learning his role in the game plan, in playing a few different roles, which were out on the wing, in the midfield and up forward. He was so he worked so hard in understanding his role, but furthermore to that, he understood everyone else's role to help set things up, to help his teammates and instill confidence in them. A really well-deserved winner of the Coaches Award this year. Congratulations, Angus. Third place in this year's Best and Fairest count goes to our other co-captain in Jack McCorkle. Jack was terrifically consistent this season as a midfielder and resting up forward, but it was in the midfield where he was at his competitive best. He's a great ball winner. He's a hard runner. He gets to contests around the game and he provides energy for his teammates as well. A terrific leader. He was our leading vote getter in the league Best and Fairest and he performed exceptionally well when we needed a lift. When we were struggling and we were at our lowest point, it was Jack who always lifted the team, took it to the next level and inspired a number of victories, particularly early in the season. It was a terrific game against Old Zaverians, probably one of our poorest performances as a team, but he didn't quit for the whole game. And that really caught the eye of the senior coach, Mark Natt, who came to watch us that day. And it wasn't too long later that Jack made his debut in the senior team. Congratulations, Jack, on a wonderful season. We look forward to more in the seasons that come ahead. Jack continues as part of the 20s program next season. He remains eligible, and we look forward to more great. Runner-up in this year's Best and Fairest is Hugo Borum. Hugo played a really consistent season as a midfielder. He worked really hard. His work rate is tremendous. He's a skillful player, hard in and under. He wins his own ball, gets it out to teammates, but then he'll bob up in the chain along the line on the outside as well with some hard running. A really valuable player for the under-20s Premier team this season. His leadership qualities shone out as well. He wanted others to improve. He continually helped others. He was just a tremendous teammate. So for a fantastic season, both as a young leader, emerging leader, and also for his performances on the field. A huge congratulations to our runner-up Best and Fairest, Hugo Borum. The 2021 Under-20s Best and Fairest is Angus Halsey. Angus had a terrific season, ultra consistent and ultra competitive. This guy loves the hard ball. Competitive in the air as a ruckman, tapping the ball around the ground, very, very good, mobile, below his knees, good kicking skills, and always brought his teammates into the game. He led our team in 1%ers, smothers, tackles, pressure acts. That's what he did. He was 100% the leader of the team first football philosophy. He did it week in, week out, saw with niggles. He just kept performing. What a tremendous season it has been.
Thanks, Bryce. First thing I'd like to say is just thanks to everyone who helped out with the under-19s this year. All the boys who came to all the trainings, all the games. It was a shame that our season got cut short in the end because I knew we were going to achieve great things, especially pushing towards finals. And mainly thanks to Bryce and Craig. You guys were really great this year. You worked so hard to bring the playing group closer together and you certainly brought out the best in all of us. So I wish you all the best with the under-19s next year. Thanks.
And we look forward to Angus Halsey playing many more years in the senior ranks as he moves up next year. Congratulations, Angus, the 2021 Under-20s Best and Fairest winner.
Congratulations, Angus. Now to my favourite part of the night, the raffle draw. Sadly, the winners this year won't be able to celebrate as hard as the winners last year. But please prove me wrong. Over to Star Lily Goss.
Alright, and the winner is ticket number 018, Julie Boulderstone. Congratulations for winning $5,000 for the Centenary Winner Takes All raffle. Thank you for everyone who purchased a ticket. Have a lovely night.
Geez, I could be at your house a bit later. You better watch out. Could be a big night for him, Henry.
Could be, Andrew.
What have you got there, mate?
Just a lemon and ginger tea. Nah.
Well, I've got some very funny stories about the Mighties, the Almighties, the Thirds. They won a premiership a couple of years ago, and They've been on top of the world ever since, and led by none other than skipper Will Houston, my old housemate. He's a great man. He doesn't like training a lot, but he is a good man. But he's given me some absolute gold nuggets here, so I'll just read you a couple of funny stories that happened throughout the year. At the top was Glash getting a yellow card by a family friend who was an umpire, only then to go into the rooms afterwards and ask him not to tell his parents. Good on you, Glash. Benny Summerfield, apologies. You might just cut that bit out. Benny Summerfield was told that the girls' game would played earlier that day at 9:20 in the morning, and he'd already missed it. And then Dimmy, how about Dimmy? He left for Melbourne only to get chased by COVID from Sydney to Byron to Brisbane and then bringing it back to Melbourne. Geez, some coaches, I tell you what.
Right, I've steamed.
I'm a fried man, but I don't know how Dimmy is. Dimmy, the stage is all yours, mate.
G'day, I hope everyone's going well. I'd just like to kick off by congratulating everybody involved in the footy season this year. From top to bottom, it's been an extraordinary effort by everybody to maintain the momentum, even though we stopped and started so often. So, not just to all the winners, but for everybody who was involved in the footy club. I know for the thirds alone, we had maybe just under 60 boys represent the thirds, which is, an extraordinary number and just goes to show the depth of the footy club. My time with the thirds this year was exceptional. The boys taught me a lot about player management, enjoying game days, and more than anything, just catching up with new mates, a lot of new faces who were coming down, and of course, catching up with old mates. Definitely missed the banter around the rooms, whether it was good or bad. Usually Houston was there chatting some bad banter, but I still kind of miss it at this point. I'd just like to thank Peter, Donald, exceptional effort behind the scenes, getting everything organised. Jenko for getting the boys right consistently through the season, and obviously Kaiser as well. Tommy Hamilton doing a truckload of work in the team management area, and Tupi as well. A big special thanks to Nick Sheehan, who assisted me with coaching. Ended up putting the boots on back end of the year, got the itchy feet, and wanted to join in with the boys, and I don't blame him. And when he did that, Benny Goodman came on board and was exceptional for the team and myself. Extraordinary for my development as a coach. His encouragement, and he really put it on me to step up, and very thankful for Benny, and I know the boys really appreciated having Benny around. His knowledge and execution of communication is exceptional. So thanks very much, Benny. It was a bit of a shame the way we finished off the year. No word of a lie. We were the informed team coming into finals. We knocked off Xavier on their home patch. St. Kevin's were no match for us at home, and we drew to Old Melburnians away from home on a pretty windy day. So aside from that, I think our connection and camaraderie was at an all-time high for the season, and especially at the thirds level, it's those type of attributes that gel a team and win you games of footy when the going gets tough, and you want to back up your mate and run the extra length of the ground as Steve Philippou would. Everyone had bought in, and we had, I don't know, maybe 30 blokes week in, week out competing for the starting 24. So, we're in an exceptional position. We were fit. A bit of a shame the way the season ended, but fortunately that's the way it goes. The awards this year were super tight. Spoken to obviously Nick and Benny as well to sort out the coaches vote. But even the BNF was, I don't think I've ever seen a poll this tight. So I'll kick off with the coaches award. Now this bloke, exceptional for sort of team bonding and team gelling, was always there to communicate to everybody, always gave time of light to new boys coming in, help them find a voice. What I really loved about this bloke is there was probably two moments in particular. One was definitely before the Xavier game, and I put it on him, and I told him, I'm going to spoil it here, but I said, mate, you are the premier ruckman of this division, and you go out there and you show everybody that you are. And I reckon he's had about 50 hit outs, had three set shots, kicked 2 goals, took some big marks that day, and he was up against two ruckmen of very high quality. So congratulations to Tom Holding. Very well deserved, mate. Unfortunately, you didn't get to cap off the seasons, but you were running in hot into the finals. So yeah, congratulations, mate. Now, we actually had a tie for 3rd place in the BNF. So the first one goes to Darcy Clark, the joker of the team. He's all smiles and makes us all laugh, but come game day, he's been exceptional for us. We threw him around literally in every position: fullback, centre half back, played a lot of time in the ruck. And then played centre half forward, and then I think he really found himself on the wing. Exceptional aerobic capacity, which I'm sure you'll deny. But yeah, presented really well up and down the wing, was an absolute motor for us. So, really well-deserved source. I think he came into the club early this year and, didn't know too many boys, but, you fitted in very well, and you were fantastic for the energy of the team. So we really appreciate your efforts this year, mate. Now the second 3rd place BNF goes to none other than Steve Philippou. Genuine workhorse. I haven't seen anything like it. There's been a few games where Steve hasn't come off at all, playing on the wing, playing in midfield, playing half forward. Some say that he was just staying out there to keep the tan on, but I reckon he was genuinely just flying through the quarters. So Steve was the vice captain of the footy club of the Thirds this year. So, he was very vocal on and off the park, which was fantastic. And best thing that a leader can do is lead by example. So Philippou's efforts were definitely noticed throughout the season. So congratulations, mate. Now, we also have an equal first place, 2 blokes. Well, I'll kick off with the first one. Congratulations to James Broderick. Brodders started the house on fire. He was exceptional the first probably 10 rounds of the season. Would go as far as saying he was definitely in the top 2 mids in the comp from what I had seen. We'd played everyone once, and Brodders was dominant. Not just on the inside, big-bodied mid, but, was capable of going forward, kicking a goal, running with the ball, has a bit of flair with ball in hand, sold a fair bit of candy through the season. And I actually think he started round 1 as full back. So, again, just versatility was fantastic with Brodders. Very well-deserving, mate. Now, the second first, best and fairest is none other than Charlie Dixon. The big fella, I reckon, against Xavier had about 15 contested marks. We threw him back to centre half back the second half, and it's probably one of the best performances I've ever seen firsthand. So, obviously he's had a very consistent year, but that game definitely stands out to me. I don't really need to say much. If you've watched Dicko play, you can see he's exceptional with ball in hand, lightning quick, randomly extremely fit, playing the ruck, playing the midfield, doesn't matter, doesn't need much rest, and quite clinical in front of goal as well.
Hey guys, James Broderick here. I just want to say I'm very grateful for receiving this award this year. I think there's a few boys that probably could have got it, and I'd like to give big congratulations to Charlie Dixon as well. I'd like to thank Scotch for doing such a great job this year in navigating all the challenges throughout the COVID year and keeping us running. I'd like to thank my coach, Dimmy, for trusting me in the midfield, all his encouragement and support, not only to myself, but to the whole team. I'd like to thank the boys behind the scenes, Nick Shan, Benny, Tom, for all the work they do to get us match ready. And to the boys, I think we had a great year this year. Unlucky not to see it through. I think we've built a great competitive spirit, and it's great fun to play there, and I can't wait to get out there next year. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for this award. It's been an honour to receive it, and I'm really proud to have been a part of the Thirds footy team this year. We had such a huge success this season due to many supportive personnel, the Old Scotch Footy Club and the leadership team, and to a group of players who made my season thoroughly enjoyable. The way we finished the season, defeating Zavs after 2 weeks off in Houston's 100th game, to then drawing with OMs, who were undefeated at the time, proved we were in the hot seat to take home the premiership. Unfortunately, with our season ending before the finals, we never got a chance, but the vibe in the Thirds was ours for the taking. I would like to thank from the whole Third squad, our coaches, Dimmy, Nick and Benny. 100% satisfaction from the players really showed how important you were to us and our success this season. To the support staff, Tom Hamilton, our manager, and our weekly water and boundary runners. A massive shout out to Will Hewson, who is retiring this season. You've been a legend of the club and one known for his public speaking and poor hamstrings. Congratulations to all the other winners tonight, and especially Brodders for his success this season, and also being the winner for the Thirds BNF. He's been a leader of the team and one who never gave up, was rough and tough in the midfield, who fittingly deserves this award more than me. Well done, Brodders.
So congratulations to the 4 BNF winners and Tom Holding. Have a good evening. Thanks very much, everyone. Cheers.
Well done to James and Dicko on another classic tie of 2021. It really does remind me of the men's Olympic high jump final when there was an infamous gold medal tie. Great stuff from the Italian and the Qatarian.
Gripping moment.
Certainly was. Now the reserves this year, the heart and soul team, had another classic year. Started on that famous Saturday when there was the second unveiling of the premiership flag. And we also started the year in the away change rooms.
Well, you know what they say, Henry? Some people do their best work in the away change rooms, aka Joshy Edwards.
Yes, and the Twos did their best in the away rooms that day, that's for sure.
Good.
It was another year where a lot of players played in the seconds. 56 players played, which was the most of any team. And so much so that in one of the early rounds, we had to do a Q&A session before the game to introduce some of our teammates to each other, which was good to get to know them. A highlight of mine was the Twos boys behind the goals out at St Bede's Mentone when we single-handedly willed the seniors to a famous come-from-behind victory. Great scenes there with the Twos boys hugging Max Martin after he kicked a goal.
The St Bernard Snow Dogs, we really got them that day.
We did. And famous pre-match speeches from Tupi about his life, his past football career, and also what colour undies he was wearing on that day. It was red, more often than not. Without further ado, the man who is missing a Tuesday night vino after training more than anyone else, Andrew Toop.
2021, the second 18, finished 5th on the ladder, 6 and 5. It was a good, solid effort by the guys during the year. I think they played some good footy and they enjoyed their time together. Some thanks for the season. First off, we want to thank Tim and Peter from a club board and executive perspective. We want to thank Robbo and Cowboy for all the work they do on match day for the team. Also, I want to thank Anthony Fury and Paul O'Brien for their coaching support. Also, Paul for getting all the dads out there. Terrific effort by all the dads to be part of helping out in the club on a Saturday. Second to none. Our team leaders, Henry Dick, Charlie Schilling and Richie Goody did a fantastic job with the guys. Really got them going during the year. And overall, just on the BNF front, of our top dozen in the BNF, only 2 were more than 24 years of age, which is great for our future, and only 5 remain from our 2019 premiership side in the second. So I think, again, we're moving players through the club. We had over 20 debutants in the second 18 this year, which was terrific stuff. Charlie Jackson is the winner of our 2021 Coaches Award. I think Charlie, on the back of 2 strong pre-seasons in a row, he's been our top 10 trainers over pre-season over the last 2 years. He came into the season probably not in our top group of players, but by halfway through the year, he'd certainly shown his wares. He had got knocked out in round 3 against Collegians, came back in round 5 against St Bernard's and did one of the gutsiest things I've seen in my time in football, with his attack on the ball in a contested air situation. Time and again, his aggression at the footy was second to none. He really hits contest hards, and he developed. He had a terrific debut in the first in round 6 and a memorable win against Uni Blues, and he went on to play a couple more games up there during the year. Really looking forward to Charlie becoming one of our top liners in future years. Well done, mate. Third place in our BNF goes to Big Tommy Lindholm. Terrific year by Big Tom. He's played mainly 23s before this year in recent times. Like Charlie, in this case, he put in a big pre-season this year. He was able to play in our first 18 during the practice match period. Then he played the bulk of the inner seconds at the very last round before we finished up. Made his debut on the ones, but preceding that, the best thing about Tom was his ruck craft got better. His endurance in the rucking contest was second to none. There was 4 or 5 games at least where he had to ruck one out all game, never a word of complaint. He's not an enforcer type, but what he is he's always there, and that motivates his teammates. Always puts himself in the way. His marking got stronger and stronger, especially across half-back and down the line. It was a terrific effort by Big Tom, like I said, during the year, to him and to the team. He's the sort of bloke you'd love to run out there beside. Runner-up in our BNF is team skipper Henry Dick. Terrific year by Henry. Really did lead the way for the guys. He played our deep anchor in defence all year long. He was impassable in a lot of games. Some of the games, his aggression of the footy, his ability to know when to intercept and come charging down was second to none. He really did keep the guys going. His leadership during the week, he really picked up during the year. He's already been a captain previously at this club, but he showed the way all year long and was a very deserving runner-up. Well done, Henry. Winner of the 2021 BNF in the reserves was Charlie Schilling. Fantastic year by Charlie. He'd played half a dozen or so games in the seniors in 2019, found himself starting off the year in the reserves, but actually played a really, really good game. We were actually thinking, when can we get him into the side? Each week he was just putting in. The way he reads a match unfold is second to none. He understands the situation of a game and he plays accordingly. He's tough around the football, he can go at 2 speeds, and he also got better and better with using the ball during the course of the season. Well done, Charlie, culminating in playing the last round before we finished up in the first, which he had a 13-touch first half with. Again, well done, Charlie.
Thanks, Toopy, and all the coaches that have been involved with the reserves this year. Toopy, you've been able to create a really great environment that's been conducive to us playing some good football, but also in developing us as people, which is a really important part of what this football club is. It's been good to be able to play with a lot of different boys this year. We've had some under-20s come and play a couple of games with us, and some of the older boys have stuck around as well, which has been a lot of fun. It's been a shame that we didn't get to play the rest of this season. We could have made a push for the top 4, but hopefully next year we get to play a full season and we'll see what the group's capable of. Thanks to all the trainers and the volunteers for helping us out every Saturday. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to get out and play every week. And hopefully we look forward to a full season next year. Thanks very much.
Congratulations, Charlie. Cheers for saving me last lock-in. This year was a very successful year for the women's program. The introduction of the Sharks was amazing, and much to Josh Richards' luck, lots more fish in the sea for him. The Stars made finals even after the Sharks made finals even after entering the season in round 5, which is amazing. The fabulous team was led by 2 awesome coaches in Josh and Liam. But as usual, we're not going to hear Liam speak, so here's Josh.
It was a historic season for the Old Scotch women's program with the introduction of the Sharks as the women's seconds team. We entered the competition late in round 5 and our first game saw us come up against old rival Scob. With as many as 10 girls who had never played a game of footy before, we managed to narrowly get the win with a last-minute goal. For the rest of the home and away season, we only lost 1 game, and that goes to show the level of talent that we have in this program. We managed to finish 4th in an interrupted season and played a final against West Brunswick, where we only lost by 4 points. I couldn't be prouder of the girls' efforts this season, and I think next year we'll go strength to strength and have a real crack in Premier B reserve. The Sharks' best finals player this season is Mel Edwards. Although we only played one final, that day Mel was absolutely courageous and thoroughly deserving of that award. She ran hard, she put her body on the line, and she managed to even get herself a goal. Well done, Mel. The Coach's Award goes to Addie Wang. Addie was new to the club, and as the season progressed, developed further and further. She was tried in multiple positions this season, but found a home at half-back and played her best game in our final. I'm sure she's going to be a great player for the club for many years to come. Second place in the best and fairest goes to Brooklyn Giacometti. Brooklyn was a crucial member of our team this season and proved herself to be a skillful and agile midfielder. She polled in every single game that she played this season, and unfortunately, due to illness, she was unable to play during our final, but an amazing season all round. Equal second in the best and fairest this season is Olivia Arundel. Liv was our captain this season and led fantastically from start to finish, nurturing the new players and also being physically dominant on the field. She's thoroughly deserving of this award, and I look forward to working with her again next season. And the winner of the Sharks Best and Fairest for 2021 is M. Joyce. M had a fantastic season, playing a handful of games also in the Stars, but when she played for the Sharks, she was absolutely dominant. Running, carrying the ball, bouncing, kicking goals, even the opposition couldn't contain her. Very proud of her, and she deserves this award. Well done, Em.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited and humbled to be receiving this award. I would like to thank Josh for the incredible coaching, as well as Hilly, Liam and Chris. A special shout out to the whole Sharks squad and Emma McClure and Alex Theodosi for the continued support and guidance throughout the season. Thank you.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
Get him up,
Yeehaw! Lock him down. Hit him up, lock him down. Hit him up, real hard. Yeehaw!
Just start.
Congratulations, Emily. That's a fantastic achievement. I tell you what I'm not missing about the live function. Jan Vanderbook's dancing. What are you guys not missing?
Certainly Richie Goody being aggressive on the dance floor or anywhere else.
Certainly.
I don't miss Henry Dick trying to corner all of the girls and, hit them up. Yeah.
How about Mitch Bradley inflating his football abilities?
Yes, lots of D&M chats there.
Yeah,
Jill.
a few.
I'll tell you what, I'm not missing having to try and find a date for the night. Sort of get half my year back now. Application's still open.
All right, well, on to the Stars. The Stars went through the season undefeated. Sadly, due to COVID, unable to give Chris the premiership that he deserved. With no Tilly Rapke, there was no real excitement. But shout out to Amy Arundel for choosing footy over nightlife. Some memorable moments personally include the handover of the captaincy from Ingrid Howren to Bet Command for exceeding the age limit, and Alex Theodosi's inability to differentiate a pan from a saucepan in our cooking class. Now to the coach, who couldn't even stick with us to win the flag, Chris.
2021 has been a continued evolution of an already successful women's program at the Old Scotch Football Club. With the introduction of a second team in 2021, we have now created a football home for everyone and anyone on their football journey. This year, this group has demonstrated connection, determination, respect, trust, and adaptability in a very trying environment for all football clubs. It has been a privilege to coach this group in what has been a very successful on-field year as well. In round one, we had a draw with Old Brighton. Since then, we have gone from strength to strength and finished the season undefeated to head into the final series with a percentage of 492. After beating Whitefriars in the semi-final, we were straight through to the grand final. With either opponent of Old Brighton or Whitefriars, we were very excited for what was to come. Unfortunately, due to COVID, the season was called off. Thankfully, due to a very strong home and away season, the Stars were awarded the minor premiership. Along with a lot of team success, there was a lot of individual success that should be acknowledged as well. Alex Theodosi was awarded the leading goal kicker in all women divisions with 32 goals. Erin White was awarded the Rising Star nomination, and we also had 4 players in the top 10 of the League BNF. Along with these individual successes, the program has also grown from strength to strength, with 69 players now being a part of the group, 38 of which played through the first 18, which is demonstrating the depth and skill for years to come. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank some individuals and groups of people that made 2021 such a successful year. First of all, to the football department, Morrow, Jenks, Donald, and everyone else involved, thank you for your ongoing support and resourcing to help the women's program be so successful. Peter Simpson, for your tireless hours behind the scenes, phone calls, emails, and everything else that you've done for us, we thank you. The parents and volunteers, from Chris Cowan to the dinner crew, to all the parents that have helped with timekeeping, being goal umpires, thank you very much for all your time that you've sacrificed. A special mention to M. Jarman as our runner and dinner crew coordinator. Thank you for all the work you've done. To the physios at Kaiser, the trainers, Jazzy at training, we thank you for all the time that you've given us to us as well. Ian Hill, the godfather of the women's program. We can't thank you enough for everything that you do and your passion that you bring to this program, both representing us at the VAFA level, the club level, and then at trainings and on game day. To Josh and Liam, thank you so much for everything that you've done, both for the program, myself, and the players. You both have very bright futures. I'm excited to see how you guys go as the up-and-coming coaches of the women program. To the leadership group, for being the best possible group that we could have had during this season. Your empathy, your understanding, the trust that you have in each other, but also the players, has been a real key to making this year such a strong campaign. And to the players themselves, thank you so much for having trust in us, the coaching panel, and just being such a wonderful group to be around, both the trainings and game day, and giving it your all. It's been wonderful to see you guys challenged, but also challenging yourselves. When on-field was going well, you stayed humble, you stayed cohesive, you trusted the process, and you continued to ask more of yourselves, which I think is one of your biggest strengths. It's been an honour to be a part of this program for the last couple of years, and I look forward to staying involved in some way, shape or form. But thank you very much for everything from everyone this year. Thank you from me, Go Stars, and now to the Player Awards. The 2021 Coaches Award goes to a new footballer at Old Scotch. Incredibly positive, hard-working, humble and fantastic player. It gives me great pleasure to award this to Emily Fraser Smith. The best finals player for the 2021 season is one of our youngest stars. She had an incredible month leading up to the first final, accumulating touches at both ends of the ground and demonstrating that she could be a premier utility in both this age group and this division. In the final, she took those leadership skills and that newfound confidence and dominated all day, helping the Scotch Stars make it to their grand final in 2021. The best finals player for 2021 is Ella Shiberers. Third best and fairest for season 2021 goes to an in and under, hard-working and very humble footballer. This player has just started her football career with Old Scotch. She quickly became someone that we could rely on, a hard-nosed player that doesn't take a backward step, and we believe that this is just the beginning of her football journey. So congratulations to Mia Caffrey. Runner-up best and fairest for season 2021 goes to one of our inaugural stars, a player that demands a lot of herself and continues to push her football capabilities year on year. We're excited to see what she can continue to do in the future, and we thank her for all her hard work this year. Runner-up best and fairest is Lily Goss. Best and fairest for season 2021 in the Stars program is a hard-working midfielder, a humble leader, and a great person. We welcomed her to the club 2 years ago, and since then, she has stamped her authority as one of the premier players in the VAFA Division 1. We're excited to see what she can achieve in years to come, and we congratulate her on her best and fairest win for tonight. Geordie Mifsud.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe during these challenging times. This isn't the way I thought I would be giving an acceptance speech, but hopefully we'll be together again shortly to celebrate the season that was properly. I'm very grateful and honoured to be receiving this award tonight, given the amount of talent we had in our squad this year. So thank you to all of the girls for really welcoming me to the club last year and supporting me both on and off the field. Thank you to Hilly for looking after me as well off the field, as well as all of the coaches, Goldie, Josh and Liam. You know, you guys continuously challenged me week in and week out and got the best out of me. So thank you. And well done to all of the other award winners tonight, and hopefully we'll see you all soon.
Congratulations, Geordie. It's good to see you serious about your footy. And now moving on to the senior men's team. There's a couple of serious highlights that I'd like to bring to the table this year. You know, one of my all-time favourites was beating Uni Blues here at the Cardinal Cave out there. It was a magical moment. We played like a really, really well-disciplined team. We played some great footy, and I think if the season was going to continue, we probably would have seen the fruits of that throughout.
Certainly helped that they were, 0-16 Uni Blues. It's good defensive pressure.
Yeah, well, something's got to help us. A couple other highlights is all the new faces that came into the club this year. You know, Tommy Ansell, he's 18 going on 30. Little package, he got 2 weeks for rough conduct, but it turned into 6 because of COVID. You get more for manslaughter, I reckon. And well, how about our coach, Mark Nat? He gets so pumped up, he's ready to run through a brick wall after his own pump-up speeches. The man is crazy. It's just too bad he can't go on a roller coaster. Natty, the floor's all yours, mate.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all well and thank you for the opportunity to address the footy club. Just from the outset, I really want to acknowledge and thank Steve Blenheim and Ian Benicia for putting this together. It's a great idea and certainly a power of work's gone into it. So thanks so much guys for doing this tonight and hopefully it allows us to bring our season to a close as we look forward to 2022. Just in terms of the men's senior program for this year, I really want to start by sharing with you what it is that we really wanted to achieve. And first and foremost, we set about, through consulting with the playing group, through our leadership group, to put a power of effort in and work in around building a reputation. And that's a reputation where we wanted to be hard to play against. And a lot of time and effort was put into that throughout the course of the season, even through the 2020 period as well when we trained. And we still got a long way to go. But the positive is that we're able to really start to create a brand that we are proud of. And underpinning that hard to play against value with our behaviours around being and having pride in our preparation and our effort. So that's what we stand for. And it's important that we do stand for something. We're very proud of the jumper, 100 years this year, and we're the current custodians of the jumper. So it's important that we honour it and do it proud. To underpin that value of hard to play against, we also identified team first, responsibility, one club, and have a resilient mindset. And that was an area that we always knew would be challenged throughout the course of the last 12 months, and in particular we've seen it obviously across the world over the last 2 years. And the beauty of a footy club is that you get to hang out with your mates and really support each other through it. And that's something that we've certainly come through this period of time a lot stronger than when we entered it. In terms of the season itself, just a few facts. So we played 49 players in the senior men's 18 this year. Right, that's a lot of players in 11 games. We had 19 debutants to play senior football, period. And then we had 32 guys make their debut at A-grade level as well. So when you look back on the end of 2019, obviously we entered that season as the runner-up. We enter an A-grade competition. It's improved in standard. We had a number of senior guys move on. There was always going to be challenges. And to say that we've been able to provide opportunities for these young men to come into our squad. And one of our key targets this year was to create depth, and depth across our first and second 18. And by having 49 men play in our seniors, we've been able to do that. The downside is it does create instability. We acknowledge that, we're aware of that, and that's something that we'll look to deal with as we move into the 2022 season. But first and foremost, we need to be very clear on which players are on board to take us forward. And I'm very, very proud of the group that we've got in front of us at the moment. As I mentioned, our key and our target is around the depth, but is also to be successful, consistent performer at A-grade level. We've seen the standard increase. There's some very good sides out there, and this year we're able to compete with certainly sides 5 through 10, but the top 4 sides, there's still a gap, and we're able to compete with them for maybe 2.5, maybe 3 quarters, but that's not long enough, and there's still some areas that we are currently addressing that we need to improve into the next season. 2 key areas or 2 pivotal moments in our season that I just want to highlight. The first one, again, we weren't the only club that experienced injuries this year, but it was probably one of the proudest moments for us as a footy club was when we defeated Uni Blues in round 6. We had 6 changes from the previous week, and it was interesting talking to the coach after the game, and he was very well aware of that. We had 4 debutants, 3 of them 20 years old at the time, and 1 18-year-old. And we beat the reigning premiers who had no less than 8 ex-AFL players running around. Now, you don't do that just because you get a bit of luck going your way. You do that because of the spirit and the passion and the drive that we had as a group to get that job done on that particular day. One of the proudest moments of the footy club, and speaking to some of the stalwarts of the club, certainly one of our best wins in many years, certainly outside of our finals campaigns. So that was one that was an outstanding effort. The second one was against St Bernard's in round 5. We all know that it's a challenge to play out at St Bernard's. And again, the previous 3 weeks we'd been beaten, and to our credit though, we'd fought our way through in the last quarters, and at least we're able to hold our head high. Well, that came to the forefront against St Bernard's, where at the 17-minute mark of the last quarter, we're still 2.5 goals down, and we're able to run over them and win by 7 points. Some outstanding efforts that day, and to see the scenes when Max Martin ran into an open goal in the last few minutes, and all of the seconds players that stayed around to support our boys, again, shows the spirit, shows the camaraderie of this group. So really, really proud of those boys. And on a side note, it was also really important for us that day to acknowledge one of our great stalwarts in Jack Hurley, who had done his knee the previous week. And we certainly made it known that on that particular day we were playing for Hurls. And, we certainly paid tribute to his career at our footy club. And that day was for him. The next award is the Ewan Davidson Team Player of the Year Award. And the criteria that we've used here is that one of the things the players did every single week was vote on who they believe to be our hardest to play against on that particular game. Win, lose or draw, we still had that real key value, and the players identified the player they felt was exhibited those behaviours. And, there were a few guys who regularly popped up here. Will Carrington had some great roles throughout the course of the year. Andy Gelbar, especially playing down back, he certainly stepped up as Gel does. And Tommy Curry, he had some really, certainly in round 2 against one of the leading, the competition's best players, again, was outstanding. So, honourable mentions to those 3 men. But the player who's won the award this year, it's his first year at the footy club. And geez, I tell you, he puts that value of team first above any other. He's out there playing for his mates the entire time and thinking about everyone else, not just himself. And real pleasure to coach. And it's acknowledged strongly by his teammates. So congratulations to Brodie Easton. Well done, Broads. The first award, guys, is the Manson Russell Most Sacrificial Acts Award. And we lost Manson over the last 12 months, and I knew Manson, he was an outstanding man and a legend of our footy club and of the VAFRA as well. So it's certainly a very special award. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that this is, the sacrificial acts is a key barometer of our value of being hard to play against. And it was great to see a number of our guys really step up in this area and embrace what we're about in that area. So just probably a few honourable mentions. Connor Goodison, who averaged around 10 per game as a small forward, was outstanding. Charlie Shaw, mate, you know, that tackle against St Bernard's, that probably won us the game in the goal square. So sure, he averaged about 11 a game. Aiden Frenetic, the bull in the middle, the number one hardball get player in our footy club and probably in the competition as well, was absolutely outstanding, averaging over 11 sacrificial acts per game. And Brody Easton as well, you know, first year at the footy club and was brilliant and averaged around 12. But the winner of this award for this year, listen, this guy, we had some really honest conversations after round 4, and I certainly put it to him around where he needed to improve and some areas that he needed to step up. And I couldn't be more proud of this guy. His maturity, his growth, his development from that point on, and he showed it in his actions. And in the first 3 minutes against St Bernard's, he had what appeared to be a cracked collarbone, yet he played the game out and was one of our leading players on the day. And from that point forward for the rest of the season, he finished the year off really well. So he averaged well over 12 sacrificial acts per game, and I'm really proud to award this to Tom Blenheim. Well done, Tommy. Next award is the Ian McKinley Encouragement Award. Now, the criteria for this one that we've applied is to really identify a guy who, perhaps from the start of the year, start of pre-season, and then all the way through, showed some real great improvement, and a player who, you know, it's really important, again, it sits under our values around taking feedback, and this guy was really, really strong in seeking feedback, and also in, you know, having that honest conversation about where he was at and what he needed to do to improve. Again, a few honourable mentions here. I want to acknowledge Sam Dorban, who stepped back into the senior fold this year and had an outstanding pre-season and certainly some exciting times ahead. Jack Brown, who up from the under-19s, again, Brownie really stepped up and certainly didn't look out of place at senior level. And the other one's Matt Bennett, who, you know, had some really tough jobs playing down in defence this year, and I was really proud of the way that Benno stepped up and was able to get some consistency into his footy. So well done to those three guys. The player who's won the award this year is a young fella who's actually originates from the country, who's relocated to Melbourne, and, you know, it was noticeable that he missed the last couple of games with injury, and it was certainly noticeable that the lack of run that we had, or the run that we missed out of the back line when he wasn't playing, and we certainly needed to fill that void. So the player who is the recipient of the Encouragement Award for this season is Zach Oliver. Well done, Zachy. The next award is the Coaches Award, and there are a number of guys who, you know, I could have easily awarded this one to this year. Probably just want to acknowledge Maxie Martin on an outstanding year and really strong leadership. And, you know, you certainly overcame adversity, Maxie, with that shoulder injury from round 2. So really, really proud of your efforts, mate, and well done. Benny Hazy, listen, a new role for you this year, and you absolutely nailed it. You know, towards the end of the season, you really owned it and really understood what was required there, and, you know, certainly a really important part of our group. And Tommy Ansell's another fella who, relocating from Queensland, it's a big effort, and Tommy, you know, always the first on the track, always working on your craft. So well done, and well done for fitting into the group so well. The winner of the award this year, however, is a guy who, you know, by all reports, when I took over as senior coach, probably wasn't necessarily the best trainer. You know, certainly everyone knew his talent, and even in his own words, probably just went through the motions a little bit. But this year, he's absolutely bought in. He's absolutely changed his behaviours, and he's stepped up, and he's shown some really strong leadership traits. And, you know, really proud of the way that this guy's gone about it. He was always the first guy to contact me, seeking feedback, looking to work on his game. Again, he had a slightly different role as the season played out. And he was also really open and honest in providing me with feedback. And that two-way feedback communication is critical for us if we're going to move forward in a high-performance environment. So this guy's a fella who's really stepped up. I'm really proud of him, and you know, he's really aligned himself. His values and his behaviours have really you know, set him up for a great season ahead next year. So really looking forward to exciting times ahead, and well done to Cheney Byrne-Jones. Well done, mate. That leads us now on to the Best and Fairest Awards. So we've got a top three. The criteria, just so that you're clear, guys, is that every player was voted out of 10 by myself and Donald for every single match. So the maximum votes, obviously, you could receive in any given game was 20 votes. So the third Best and Fairest this year, with 122 votes, is a guy who, listen, again, you know, he was asked to play a different role, and I know he absolutely would prefer to play in the midfield all of the time, but based on needs and his skill sets, he was best suited for us down in the back line, playing on some really, really good opposition players. And he was regularly very, very consistent. He bleeds for the jumper. He loves his mates. He loves the footy club. I'm sure he's already had a few things to say on this cast tonight. So he's an outstanding man, and you know, really exhibits that team first mentality. And he's bloody hard to play against. And he certainly enjoyed himself at the pre-season camp too. So he leads from the front. And again, well done on an outstanding season, Andy Gelbart. Well done, Gel. Okay, the runner-up, Best and Fairest. This player, he received 139 votes, and it was a very tight tussle with he and the winner. There was only 3 votes separating the two of them. This bloke, I'm extremely proud of what this guy's achieved. Again, a little bit similar to what I said earlier around Cheney. This guy, you know, he's always been known to have outstanding talent, and you know, he acknowledged himself. He needed to get himself into some really good shape for the 2021 season. Well, he absolutely smashed that. His pre-season was outstanding. He certainly led from the front. He worked really, really hard, and to have him playing in the midfield, which is where he should be playing, and that's where he belongs, was a great result for us as a footy club. And to see this guy really step up this year, he had some really tough opponents on occasions that gave him a job to do, and he absolutely did that. He was our number one in the hard ball gets. He you know, always sticks his head over the footy. Very, very smart footballer and a very, very talented footballer. But you know, from where he's come from and to where he is today, I've got no doubt this guy can be one of the top 1 or 2 midfielders in the competition in 2022. So I'm really, really proud of this fella, and congratulations on an outstanding season to Aiden Frenetic. Well done, Fren, it's brilliant. And the winner of our Best and Fairest for 2021 with 142 votes, as I mentioned, only 3 votes clear of Franners. This guy is his first year at our footy club, and I tell you what, you couldn't have probably done it any better. The way that this guy has been embraced by the playing group, and the way that he's embraced our footy club and our programming as a whole has been outstanding. He is an absolute gem of a bloke. He's absolutely led from the front. He was right up there with the sacrificial acts. He was right up there. He won the Team Player of the Year award. So he's acknowledged by his peers. He's acknowledged by the coaching staff, and he's been acknowledged at club level as well. He's an outstanding footballer. His work ethic, his preparation is second to none. And we're certainly a better footy club for having this bloke involved, and I'm really proud to say that he's certainly on board again for 2022. So an outstanding season. Well done, Brodie Easton, mate. Congratulations. Outstanding effort.
I want to firstly thank everyone involved in bringing together this year's awards night. I'm sure it's not how we all plan to celebrate the season, but I'm glad we at least get the opportunity tonight, and congrats to all the other award winners. It's an honour to win this award, especially in the centenary year of what I've come to learn is a very successful and proud club with an amazing history. I want to thank the entire playing group, coaches, support staff, club committee, and anyone else who has welcomed me to the club this year, and ensure that my time has been full of positives. It's never easy moving to a new state or footy club for that matter, but the Old Scotch community has been instrumental in making 2021 a year to remember amid a crazy time for us all. I would also like to shout out my neighbour and Old Scotch old boy, Nick Allen, for sponsoring me this year and getting me down to the club in the first place. There were plenty of hours spent drinking and lobbying me to get down to the club at the end of last year, and hangovers aside, I'm grateful for his support. Although this year we didn't have the success on the field that we would have hoped, the off-field support is first class, and I hope we can repay all of the efforts with a strong 2022. I hope everyone enjoys their night, and I look forward to catching up with you all soon.
As we look forward to the 2022 season, one thing that's very, very clear is that we know where this group's at. We're very aware of where we're going and what we need to do to get there. And I'm really proud of the boys in the fact that we've had some really positive and honest conversations in the post-season period, and guys are already underway in their work for the 2022 pre-season. So I'll probably leave it there. I could probably talk all day, but I'm very aware of the fact that Tim Shearer has probably taken up most of our time. So just to finish, I do want to acknowledge with a few thank yous, which is always important because, you know, we can't do this alone. So for me, first and foremost, I want to thank my wife, Simone, my kids, Lockie and Ruby. I mean, they're the guys that probably give up the most, to be frank. There's a lot of time that goes into this role, but their support is unwavering, and I couldn't be doing this without them. So thank you, and I love you guys. To Tim Shearer, Peter Simpson, Jeff Halsell and the committee, really thank you for your faith and trust in me to lead this group. It's a massive honour and privilege, and I thank you very much. To Donald McDonald, you know, one of the all-time greats. We love having Donald around the club, an outstanding mentor and person to have around the footy club. So thanks, Donald, and really enjoy working with you and look forward to 2022. Andrew Toop, Brad Jenkinson, Paddy Arsieri and the Keezer guys. Again, super effort from you guys. Really enjoyed that relationship. To Brendan Mason, Bomber, for all your work that you did with the leadership group. Outstanding throughout the 2020 period in particular, and it's really set us up for those values and behaviours that we've had throughout the course of this year. To Gene, as the skipper, mate, you're an outstanding leader, an outstanding human being, and really enjoyed working with you. Same to Jal and Max and Caro in the leadership group, just outstanding young men, and really enjoyed having you involved in that leadership period. And again, looking forward to 2022. To my best mate, Rossi, the runner. I know you sometimes struggle to get messages out when we really need it. But mate, thank you. It's great having you on board. Same with Mark Lipshut as well, who joined the group this season on the sidelines. So Lippy, thank you. To the whole coaching staff, I won't name everyone individually, but you know, across the men's and women's program, I think one thing that we've done better than any other time at the club is really solidify as a coaching group and a coaching panel. And again, so really enjoyed my time with you guys. And finally, to the players, guys, you know, we're doing this for you. We love you blokes, and you know, we've got some exciting times ahead. We've got some hard work ahead, but we're all in this together. And I really want to thank you and commend you on your efforts this season. And really enjoyed working with you all. And it's been an absolute privilege and an honour, as I said earlier. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all in person soon. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to, sorry, what are we? Is it like a 50, 100 year? Is it the centenary?
Yes, centenary.
Best and fairest?
Yeah. No, we're starting again, Steve. Okay.
To the day of all days, but no, not the session of sessions, that's happening later.
Well, I don't believe it is with the COVID restrictions at the moment, Andrew.
Yes.
The old bloody mute, Luce.
Gets you.
Even gets the best of us, doesn't it, Gel?
Yeah, it does, and you know, well, sometimes I actually... yeah, it does. Really?
Well, I was just trying to congratulate Justin.
At least you got it out there, Luce. Are you a camera on or camera off sort of operator?
Me? I guess it depends on the occasion.
Well, I know I'm a camera on man, but then when I need a break, I'm definitely a camera off kind of guy.
Sounds like Justin Nicholas.
It does. Feels a lot like Justin.
Now, guys, tonight we didn't mention the bathrooms at the start, but please limit your bathroom breaks to 2 minutes and your alcohol breaks 5 to 10 minutes.
Should have them ready to go. Yeah, I reckon we do that again.
Well done to James and Dicko. Another classic tie of 2021. Really reminds me of the Olympic men's high jump final when there was a tie for gold. It was a fantastic moment for the Italian and the Qatarian.
It was a great showdown, that.
Was.
Congratulations, Geordie. It's good to see you serious about your footy. And now we're moving on to the senior team, the men's senior team. There's a couple of funny moments that we came through from this year.
Well done, Brody, and you've certainly fitted in seamlessly at the club ever
Absolutely.
since you left no stone unturned in that pre-season camp in Queenscliff, or should we say Geelong. Now, as we focus our attention to next year, what are you guys looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to White Night. That's the biggest party of the year, and we always end up back at the den, so why not?
Yeah, shock horror, social events, and hopefully a lot of flags.
I'm looking forward to the return of Full Moon Party.
Interesting.
And obviously a return to a Thursday night favourite segment, Under the
Spotlight.
Hammer. It has a bit more of an effect when there's people, a live audience. But I think also next year everyone's looking forward to any opportunity to put on the Cardinal Gold, Blue and Stars. We'll see you all out there at McQueen Park 2022.
I didn't know where you were.